The first thing I remember is the sound of ice hitting the kitchen floor. Not because someone dropped a drink. Because my hand stopped working for a second and the glass slipped right out of my fingers. I stood there staring at cubes sliding under the fridge while my wife casually laughed at something on her phone. I had no idea my life was already over. Not officially over. Not divorce papers and moving boxes over. I mean the version of my life I thought was real. Before all of this, things were painfully normal. I had a good job, a house that took us years to afford, and a wife I'd been with since my 20s. We had 2 kids. Soccer practice, grocery runs, stupid arguments over laundry, Netflix falling asleep halfway through movies. I was one of those people who genuinely believed I got lucky. And I had a best friend too. Ryan. 20 years of friendship. The kind where he had his own key to our house. The kind where I would have trusted him with my children. I actually did. Ryan wasn't just my friend. He was basically family. We met when we were teenagers and somehow never drifted apart. College happened, relationships happened, jobs happened, but he stayed in my life through everything. He was there when I proposed to my wife. He stood next to me at my wedding. He was the first person I called when our son was born. He used to joke that he was my backup husband. My wife laughed harder at that joke than I did. At the time I thought nothing of it. Honestly, I thought I had the kind of life people secretly wanted. Friday nights meant Ryan coming over with beer and food. Sometimes we'd sit on the patio until midnight talking about work or old memories. Sometimes I would go to bed early because I had work the next morning. My wife and Ryan would stay downstairs talking. And I remember seeing them laughing together in the kitchen once. Nothing weird. Nothing dramatic. Just comfortable. I actually remember smiling. I thought, this is what trust looks like. Looking back now, I hate how many little things I explained away. Not because they were huge red flags. Because they were small enough to ignore. My wife started texting more. Not obsessively, just enough that I noticed. She'd smile at her phone and angle the screen away without thinking. I asked once, joking around, "Secret boyfriend?" She rolled her eyes. "Yeah, his name is Dave and he's incredibly rich." Then she kissed me and walked away. Normal married stuff. Ryan also started showing up more often. If I worked late, he'd stop by and help my wife with random things around the house. Fixing shelves. Moving furniture. Picking up the kids from practice once or twice. I felt grateful. I remember telling people, "Man, everyone needs a friend like Ryan." My wife agreed with me immediately. Too quickly, maybe. But when you trust people completely, your brain becomes their defense attorney. Every strange feeling gets explained before suspicion even has a chance to exist. The weird feeling started with something so stupid I almost feel embarrassed admitting it. A grocery receipt. Not even a dramatic thing. I was cleaning out my wife's car because the kids had destroyed the back seat with snack wrappers and sports stuff. I found a receipt shoved between the seats. Wine, expensive cheese, candles, some takeout place I didn't recognize. The date caught my eye because I remembered that day. I had been out of town for work. 3 days. I walked into the house holding it and laughed. "Planning a secret luxury dinner without me?" She barely looked up. "Oh. Sarah came over." That was it. Simple answer. Completely reasonable. But there was this tiny pause before she answered. Half a second. Maybe less. And I remember standing there thinking something felt off. Not wrong. Just off. Then Ryan walked into the kitchen through the back door and said, "Hey man." And my wife looked at him. For 1 second. Just one. But it felt like I had interrupted a conversation without realizing it. I should probably admit something ugly. I didn't suddenly become some genius detective. I ignored that feeling too. For months. Because once you've built your whole life around people, your mind fights to protect the picture you've created. Mine definitely did. I kept finding little things though. My wife started taking her phone into the bathroom. She changed her password after years of never caring about it. Ryan suddenly knew details about her day before I did. Small things. I'd say, "How was Emma's school meeting?" And Ryan would go, "Didn't it get moved to Thursday?" Then we'd all kind of freeze for a second. My wife would jump in immediately. "Oh right, I mentioned it in the group chat." There wasn't a group chat. At least not when I was in. But then I'd tell myself I forgot. I worked a lot. I was tired all the time. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I was becoming paranoid. I started doubting myself before I doubted them. Turns out that was a mistake that cost me everything. The moment everything actually shifted happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Nothing dramatic. No lipstick on a collar. No anonymous phone call. I was home early because a meeting got cancelled. My wife was upstairs taking a shower, and her phone was charging on the kitchen counter. Then it buzzed. I wasn't trying to snoop. I know people say that after the fact, but it's true. I looked automatically because screens lighting up catches your attention. I saw Ryan's name. The preview only showed a few words. "He suspects something. Stop panicking." I remember staring at it and genuinely not understanding what I was reading. It felt disconnected from reality. Like reading part of a conversation from strangers. Then another message appeared. "Delete these." My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might actually throw up. I kept staring at the screen waiting for my brain to explain it away. But for the first time, my brain had nothing. Nothing at all. I picked up her phone and just stood there. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. For a few seconds I argued with myself. Don't do this. Respect privacy. You're overreacting. Then another thought hit me. Why would Ryan tell my wife to delete messages? I wish I could say I stayed calm. I didn't. I unlocked her phone because she had used the kid's birthday as the passcode for years. Muscle memory more than anything. The messages were gone. Completely gone. But not all of them. She forgot about the trash folder. I still remember seeing it. Dozens of deleted texts. "Ryan. He asked me where you were." My wife. "What did you say?" Ryan. "Told him you were with Sarah." My wife. "Thank you." Another one. "We can't keep doing this." Then another. "I miss you already." I sat down at the kitchen table because my legs suddenly felt weak. And then I noticed something horrifying. They weren't texting each other. They were talking about someone else. I kept scrolling because at that point I couldn't stop. Part of me still wanted an innocent explanation. I was desperately trying to find one. Instead I found names. Dates. Excuses. Lies organized like schedules. Ryan. "I told him I was with you Friday." My wife. "Thank you." "He believed it." Ryan. "You need to be more careful." Then I saw one that made my chest feel like it collapsed. My wife. "I think Jason is getting attached." Jason. I didn't know any Jason. Ryan. "Then end it before he finds out." My eyes kept moving across the screen, but my brain was lagging behind. I actually whispered, "No." Like saying it out loud would change the words. I kept reading. Months. Not weeks. Months. Ryan helping her cover stories. Giving alibis. Warning her when I asked questions. My best friend wasn't sleeping with my wife. Somehow what he did felt worse. He had a front row seat while my marriage slowly rotted. I don't remember walking upstairs. I honestly don't. One second I was sitting at the kitchen table staring at her phone, and the next I was standing in our bedroom doorway. She was brushing her hair. Just normal. Completely normal. I held up her phone and said, "Who the hell is Jason?" That's it. No yelling. No dramatic speech. Just that. I've replayed what happened next 1,000 times because people always say the first reaction tells you everything. She froze. Not confused. Not angry. Frozen. The color disappeared from her face so fast I saw it happen. "What are you talking about?" she asked. I remember laughing. Actually laughing. Because it was such a ridiculous question. I held the phone higher. "Don't do that. Don't insult me." She stared at the screen. Then at me. Then she sat down slowly on the bed. And for a few seconds neither of us spoke. I could hear the shower still dripping behind her. Then she started crying. I always imagined that if I ever caught someone cheating, I'd explode. Scream. Punch walls. Throw things. Instead, I just stood there feeling hollow. My wife covered her face and cried so hard she could barely breathe. "I was going to tell you," she kept saying. Over and over. "I was going to tell you." I remember staring at her and thinking, when? After another month? After another year? After I died? I finally said, "How long?" She didn't answer. I asked again, "How long?" Then she whispered, 8 months. 8 months. 8 months of kissing me goodbye in the morning. 8 months of sleeping beside me. 8 months of family dinners and vacations and pretending. Then I asked the question I didn't want the answer to. "Ryan knew?" She started crying harder. Didn't speak. Didn't need to. Because silence answered that question before words ever could. And I swear something inside me physically broke in that moment. I called Ryan immediately. I don't even remember deciding to do it. I just remember hearing the phone ring while my wife sat on the bed crying. He answered like everything was normal. "Hey man." Those 2 words still make me sick. I said, "Come here." That's all. My voice sounded strange. Flat. Empty. He asked, "Everything okay?" I laughed again. I kept laughing that night at things that weren't funny. "Just come here." About 20 minutes later he walked through my front door smiling. Smiling. I was standing in the living room waiting. My wife was sitting on the couch with swollen eyes. Ryan looked at her. Then at me. Then his face changed. Immediately. Nobody spoke for a few seconds. I finally asked, "How long have you been helping her?" He looked at my wife first. Not me. Her. And that somehow hurt almost as much as the affair itself. Because in that moment I knew which side he had chosen. Ryan sat down and put both hands over his face. I was waiting for denial. Waiting for him to tell me I misunderstood everything. Instead he said, "I was trying to protect people." Protect people. I remember feeling actual anger for the first time that night. Not sadness. Not shock. Anger. I looked at him and said, "Protect who?" He looked up at me with tears in his eyes. My God, man, not everything is black and white. I almost lost it. 8 months. 8 months of lying to my face, eating at my table, hugging my kids, listening to me talk about my marriage while secretly knowing it was collapsing. I yelled, "You watched me trust both of you." My wife started crying again. Ryan stood up. "I didn't want this." I stepped toward him. "Then why did you help her?" He stared at the floor for a long time. Then quietly said, "Because she said she was scared of losing everything." I said something that night I still think about. I looked at Ryan and asked, "What about me?" Not in an angry way. Not yelling. I genuinely meant it. Because suddenly I felt like I had disappeared from my own life. Everyone had reasons. My wife had reasons. Ryan had reasons. Apparently Jason probably had reasons too. And somehow I was just the guy standing in the middle getting crushed by all of them. Nobody answered me. That was the worst part. Nobody had an answer. Ryan started saying things like, "I never wanted to hurt you," and "I thought she'd eventually tell you." My wife kept repeating that she loved me. Loved me. That word felt disgusting in that moment. Because I realized love had apparently been happening around me while deception was happening directly to me. I remember looking at both of them and feeling completely alone. I've never felt loneliness like that before. Not even after my father died. Because grief hurts differently when the people causing it are still standing in front of you. The months after that felt unreal. People think betrayal is one moment. It's not. It's hundreds of moments afterward. I moved into the guest room first. Then eventually into a small apartment across town because I couldn't breathe inside that house anymore. The kids noticed immediately. Kids always do. My daughter asked me one night, "Did you and Mom stop loving each other?" I almost broke right there. I said, "No, sweetheart. Things are just complicated." I hated myself for saying it. Work became impossible. I would sit at my desk staring at emails for 10 minutes without reading a single word. I stopped sleeping. Stopped eating normally. Started replaying every memory from the last year like evidence in a trial. Every laugh. Every text. Every late night. I kept wondering if I had missed something obvious. Eventually people found out pieces of the story. Friends took sides. Some disappeared completely. And Ryan? I never answered another call from him again. It's been years now, and I still catch myself thinking about strange things. Not the affair itself. Not Jason. Not even my marriage ending. I think about Ryan handing me a beer at backyard barbecues while knowing the truth. I think about him asking me, "How are you and your wife doing?" while he was helping her lie to me. Those thoughts stay with me more than anything else. My wife and I divorced. We learned how to exist around each other for the kids. We're polite now. Distant. Like people who used to know each other very well. Sometimes I wonder whether she ever truly loved me. Then I wonder if that's even the right question anymore. Maybe she did. Maybe Ryan cared about me too. Maybe people can love you and still destroy you. I used to think betrayal came from enemies. Now I think betrayal almost always arrives through people whose names are saved in your phone with hearts, jokes, or words like brother. That's the part ones still haven't figured out how to live with.